The whispers of Willow Creek. Willow Creek, desolate, forgotten. Once a thriving community, now a ghostly remnant of its former self. The town's history is shrouded in mystery, with tales of prosperity abruptly ending in inexplicable despair. A veil of mist perpetually shrouded its crumbling houses, as if nature itself sought to hide the secrets buried within these walls. The fog was not just a weather phenomenon, but a constant companion to the town's eerie silence. Each one a tombstone. In the ghost of a town, these structures stood as silent witnesses to the passage of time and the decay of hope. The walls, once filled with laughter and life, now echoed with the whispers of the past. Locals whispered of a darkness that lingered here, a malevolent force that seemed to seep into the very fabric of the town. It was said that the shadows moved with a life of their own, and the night brought with it an unsettling presence, a malevolence that clung to the rotting wood and shattered windows as if the town itself was cursed. The decay was not just physical, but seemed to permeate the very soul of Willow Creek, leaving an indelible mark on all who dared to enter. They spoke of Willow Creek with fear-laced whispers, their voices trembling as they recounted the eerie occurrences that plagued the town. Stories of ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and a sense of being watched were common among the villagers. Their eyes wide with chilling tales passed down through generations, each story more terrifying than the last. The fear was palpable, a living entity that thrived on the collective dread of the townspeople. The town was a scar on the landscape, a testament to some unseen tragedy. Its silence was unnerving, a stark contrast to the vibrant life that once filled its streets. The emptiness was a constant reminder of what had been lost, a testament to some unseen tragedy. Its silence was unnerving, broken only by the wind whistling through the skeletal trees. The streets, once bustling with activity, now lay deserted, echoing with the memories of a bygone era. Broken only by the wind whistling through the skeletal trees, the sound was a haunting melody that seemed to tell the story of the town's demise. The trees, like the buildings, stood as silent sentinels, bearing witness to the passage of time. Even the sunlight seemed hesitant to touch this cursed ground, as if afraid of what it might reveal. The light was weak and fleeting, casting long shadows that danced eerily across the decaying landscape. As if afraid of what it might reveal, the fog clung to the ground, obscuring details and adding to the sense of mystery. Willow Creek was a place where the past and present seemed to merge, creating a timeless void filled with whispers and shadows. A skeptic's folly. John didn't believe in ghosts. He was a man of science, a rational thinker who relied on evidence and logic. To him, the supernatural was nothing more than a collection of stories created to explain the unexplainable, a relic of a time when humanity didn't have the tools to understand the world around them. Stories, legends, folklore, he dismissed them all as fairy tales to scare children. He had spent countless hours reading about various myths and legends, not out of belief, but out of curiosity about why people believed in such things. He found it fascinating how different cultures had their own versions of ghost stories, yet he remained unconvinced. He scoffed at the locals' warnings, their superstition a source of amusement rather than concern. Whenever he visited a new town, he made it a point to ask about local legends, always ready to debunk them with a smirk. The people of Willow Creek were no different. They spoke of haunted woods and restless spirits, but John only saw an opportunity to prove them wrong. Armed with his camera and a thirst for the unknown, he ventured into the heart of Willow Creek, eager to debunk the myth and expose the town's haunted reputation as nothing more than a fabrication. He had all the latest equipment, night vision cameras, EMF detectors and digital recorders, tools that he believed would capture nothing but the natural sounds of the forest. The air grew colder as he walked, a palpable chill that seemed to seep into his bones. The deeper he went, the more the temperature seemed to drop, an odd phenomenon that he attributed to the dense canopy of trees blocking out the sun. He noted the change in his journal, determined to find a logical explanation. His footsteps echoed against the eerie silence, each step taking him deeper into the belly of the beast. The forest was unnaturally quiet, devoid of the usual sounds of wildlife. It was as if the very air was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. John couldn't help but feel a slight unease, but he quickly brushed it off as his mind playing tricks on him. Still, he pressed on, his skepticism a shield against the unsettling atmosphere. He reminded himself that fear was a natural response to the unknown, a survival mechanism that had kept humans safe for millennia. But he was not here to be afraid. He was here to uncover the truth. With each step, he reaffirmed his belief that there was a rational explanation for everything. even the most chilling of ghost stories. The Unseen Guest. The old Victorian mansion at the end of Elm Street stood as a grim sentinel, its decaying grandeur a haunting reminder of a forgotten era. John pushed open the creaking gate, its rusty hinges groaning in protest. He felt a presence here, a weight in the air that was impossible to ignore. He raised his camera, focusing on the house's imposing facade. Click! The shutter snapped, capturing the image. Later, when he developed the film, he would find a figure standing in the window. A spectral silhouette that hadn't been there in life. Shadows of doubt. John explored the house, each room more decrepit than the last. Dust-covered furniture stood frozen in time, remnants of a life abruptly interrupted. A child's doll lay discarded on the floor, its porcelain face cracked, its painted eyes seeming to follow him. An unsettling feeling crept over him, sending shivers down his spine. He heard whispers, faint and ethereal, slithering at the edge of his hearing. His skepticism began to waver, replaced by a growing unease that gnawed at his resolve. He stumbled upon a hidden room, its door concealed behind a tattered tapestry. The air inside was heavy, thick with the stench of decay. In the centre of the room, a single chair faced a wall, and upon that wall, scrawled in what appeared to be blood, was a message. "They never leave." The words hit him like a physical blow. His heart pounded against his ribs, a drumbeat of fear echoing in his ears. He had to get out, to escape the suffocating presence of this place. But the house had other plans. Trapped in terror. The door slammed shut behind him, the lock clicking with an ominous finality. He rattled the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. He was trapped. Panic surged through him, a tidal wave of fear threatening to drown him. He was no longer a skeptic, no longer an observer. He was a prisoner in this haunted house, at the mercy of whatever unseen forces lurked within its walls, and the worst was yet to come. The unspoken plea. The whispers grew louder, morphing into chilling wails that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. He felt a cold breath on his neck, the ghostly touch of something unseen. His fear turned to terror, a primal instinct that urged him to flee. He pounded on the door, his screams swallowed by the oppressive silence of the house. He was trapped with his fear, and with the realization that some things are beyond rational explanation. A chilling escape. He finally managed to break free, his frantic efforts rewarded as the rotting door gave way. The sound of splintering wood echoed through the dark, abandoned house, a testament to his desperate struggle. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat a reminder of the danger he was leaving behind. He didn't waste a second, didn't dare look back. The fear that gripped him was palpable, a cold hand squeezing his heart. Every shadow seemed to reach out, every creak of the old house a whisper of impending doom. His mind raced with thoughts of what might be lurking just behind him, urging him to move faster. He ran through the house, his lungs burning, his every instinct screaming at him to escape. The hallway seemed to stretch endlessly, each step echoing in the oppressive silence. He could feel the weight of the house pressing down on him, as if it were alive and intent on keeping him trapped within its decaying walls. His breath came in ragged gasps, each one a struggle against the suffocating fear. He burst out of the house and into the cold embrace of the night. The chill air was a stark contrast to the stifling atmosphere inside, a harsh reminder of the reality he had just escaped. The night was silent, save for the sound of his own laboured breathing and the distant rustle of leaves. He paused for a moment, his eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of pursuit. He didn't stop running until he reached the relative safety of his car, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The car was a beacon of hope, a promise of safety in the midst of his terror. He fumbled with the keys, his hands shaking uncontrollably. Finally, he managed to unlock the door and collapse into the driver's seat, his body trembling with exhaustion and fear. As he drove away, he could have sworn he saw a figure watching him from the window of the house, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The image burned into his mind, a haunting reminder of the horrors he had just escaped. He pressed down on the accelerator, desperate to put as much distance between himself and that cursed place as possible. The road stretched out before him, a path to safety and a new beginning, but the memory of those glowing eyes would stay with him forever. The haunting remains. John never returned to Willow Creek, The experience left an indelible mark on his soul, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the veil of our reality. He left behind his skepticism, his camera, and a part of himself that he could never quite reclaim. And in the echoing silence of that forgotten town, the haunting of Willow Creek continued. The whispers persisted, the shadows danced, and the evil that resided within those crumbling walls waited patiently for its next unsuspecting victim. Remember, like and subscribe.